Okay.
Sorry, we're going live.
All right.
Alright. We should be live now. We got the big
All right.
stupid delay. So I'm just gonna
Mm-hmm.
wait until somebody, hopefully, whoever one of the three people that are currently watching, hopefully somebody will type in that everything is good and we can all be heard. Joe, say something to the audience.
Hello.
Yeah.
There's probably a delay.
Oh, there's definitely a delay. We're gonna kind of press on through the delay. We're gonna just keep it going. I have somebody here to talk with me now, so that's always helpful
Mm-hmm.
for me because whenever I don't,
Yeah.
I just kind of ramble and whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna jump right into it. So everybody that got here on time, you're gonna hear it from the get go. Everybody who is late, you're all late to class. You know. So, and as soon as we hit more than eight and a half people, I'm gonna make the jump. 6 already, and we're only like
Yeah.
5 minutes in. So, hey,
Uh-huh.
General, she hears me. Of course, she's in
Yeah.
the room, so you know.
Mm-hmm. She's I don't know if I should say this. I'll say she's downstairs. So, yeah.
We're gonna keep this all mystery. So, anyways, all
Mm-hmm.
right. So, Joe,
Yes.
where were you on the afternoon of January 6th, 2021, sir?
Well, at that time, I was actually in my hotel. So,
All day?
no. So we left the hotel at around 7:30,
Where were
and we
you
went to the
specifically? What district of this country were you in?
Columbia.
You were in the District of Columbia. So you were in D.C. on the 6th.
Yes.
All right. Now, here's the question.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that brought you there? Where did the idea come from? What was the reason for going?
Well,
How did this start?
well, I actually went because my mom said, I'm going to DC because this is probably our last stand before there's either a civil war or Joe Biden takes the country down.
All right.
And I
So,
was like,
wait a second.
good
So
on you.
So
Wait a
she
second.
saw this as a last stand. I'll ask
Yeah.
her to define that later, so I know she's listening,
Mm-hmm.
so you can start thinking of that right now. But,
Mm-hmm.
so that was her thought. Her thought was a last stand. We'll get more clarification on that when she jumps on. 10 viewers,
Yeah.
Joe. Ha.
Ah! Ah!
So,
Six.
you were proposed this by your mom. I'm going to go, and you said,
Well, at the time, if you recall from the last time we streamed, I said that uh, I like hanging out with children, and I was considering not going because I wanted to stay with them. But then I thought, hey, she's going to Washington, D.C., and that's probably going to be a really cool trip. What I did not know was just how cool of a trip it was going to be. So I was like, okay, I'll go with you. And it drove 18 hours there and 18 hours back. But
that is a
when we
drive
got
and a
there,
half. Holy crap.
yeah, it really sucked. Well, when we were actually at the rally, just listening to Trump speak, me and the other person she brought with us, we had to like squat down because our backs hurt so much. It was a real drive. We were determined to have that last stand.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
so what was ultimately, what was your motivation for wanting to go? Your mom felt it was a last stand. Did you agree with her?
I just thought it was cool.
You just wanted to go. You just figured
Yeah.
this is going to be a historic event,
Yeah.
and damn it, I would
Yeah.
like to be
Well,
present to witness it. Hey, that's
well,
fair enough.
this is a bit of a spoiler, but like even when I was there, I was just like, this is just cool. This is a cool time. And then I didn't realize just how big it was going to be until we actually like left and just started reading the news.
Interesting.
But
All right, now
we'll get to
we're gonna
that
get
later.
all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get.
So yeah, so in a nutshell, I just went because it was cool.
Hey, fair enough. I mean, there were I believe French explorers that came to the New World just to see
Because it
what
was
happened.
cool.
Just to
Yeah.
walk around and watch what happened and to
hmm
record it for posterity's sake. So I mean, I'm sure that you're not the only person that went just because it was interesting and it was cool.
Yeah,
Um.
I bet.
So you didn't really have like a motivation beyond this is just going to be a time. This will just be
hmm
kind of fun.
Yeah, basically.
So we have a range of reasons in your party. How many people were going? Was it just you and your mom, or?
No. So it was me, my mom's friend, and then my sister,
Okay.
and it was us four. And what we were thinking it was gonna be was just us and like a few thousand other people going to a Trump rally.
Mm-hmm.
And as we'll see later, it wasn't quite that. Um, so yeah, it was me, my sister, my mother, and then her friend.
Now, did your sister and your mother's friend did they happen to mention their thoughts on why they were going?
Um, my mom's friend had the same, basically, this is our last stand, like
Last
my
name.
mother. And then my sister, just like me, probably, it was cool. It was a cool trip.
It's going to be an event that'll be fun. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry. So you all pile in the car, an 18-hour drive. You and three women. Good Lord, 18 hours in a car with three women. My sister, my mother, and my mother's friend. Like thinking of my
Yeah.
sister, my mother, and any of my mother's friends. Holy
Yeah.
Christ on a cross! I would have jumped out of that fucking car at mile 2. Let alone that whole hour. Jesus Christ, 18
Uh,
hours in the car. All right. So you get there. We don't need to hear the dirty, nasty details of that car ride. So you finally get to DC. You check into a hotel. I imagine you arrived like the day before, something like that. Right?
yeah, yeah, we got there the day before.
You probably
Well, the
took
night
in some
before.
of the sites, maybe wandered around.
No, we actually we went and we talked to some people. Uh, the personally my favorites, they were from Cleveland,
Ah,
and yeah, they
more
were from
stomping
Cleveland,
grounds.
and yeah, those are probably the coolest guys I met there. And I was thinking, how could usually people from the city are kind of they're not big fans of the of Trump, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And I was real surprised to see them, being being what's the word? Agreeing with my political views,
Hmm.
things.
Now, were they
I
pro-Trump or?
Yeah, they were very pro-Trump. They
Oh,
were basically everybody that was there was there
you'd
for
be
the Trump rally.
surprised. Like in this
Oh,
area.
wait.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, you can finish that, but I want to say I did not think that there were as many Trump supporters like in the U.S. as there were that actually showed up.
Really?
'Cause, yeah, once we get to the rally, I'll actually talk about like just how many people were actually there.
Yeah.
Because Fox News said that there were only 10,000.
There was at least 100,000 or more.
Oh, it was more than 100,000. I mean it. It was. We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
So you're just kind of going around talking to people.
Yeah.
Now,
I
was this like you were just milling around the city, and there were people milling around the city, and you were just kind of chatting with people, or was there like a
no,
thing?
we were just at the front of the hotel. My mom went downstairs and we followed her, and we just sat outside the hotel
Okay,
and talked.
to just regular passerbys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and people in the hotel and stuff.
that's cool.
And they were cool. They were really cool people. Like they're some of the coolest people I've ever met in my life, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
it would probably be more like a convention atmosphere. I could see that. And there's a
yeah,
lot of people there for the same event. So, yeah, you just sit around and talk about what you're there for. Yeah. All right.
there should have been more cosplayers.
Right? Yeah. Fucking
Um,
Star Wars acts going on, people fighting with fake lightsabers. Yeah, yeah. I've been to
oh my gosh.
conventions, so yeah.
I can imagine like someone dressed as Pelosi and someone dressed as Trump, like throwing documents at each other.
She's just walking around tearing up pieces of paper. Oh, that
Uh,
would be classic. They should totally do that. Well, anyway.
uh,
So, all right. So you get there, you spend the first evening, kind of hanging out, chatting with people, just kind of milling about.
hmm
First day ends, go to sleep. Wake up the next morning, go into the rally. Right now, the atmosphere of the room. You've got two people who want to be there because it's cool. You got two people who want to be there because this is the last stand against tyranny, right, or whatever it is that they've got in their mind. They're standing
Yeah.
against. How is the getting ready? Like, could you feel like a tension from your mom and her friend? Like, was there any of that, or was everybody just in a really light, fun mood?
I was well, in the morning, I'm not in a good mood at all, honestly. None of us were.
Really?
Yeah, we're not morning people.
Oh.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, all right.
But,
So mornings suck. I get that.
yeah. But, like, once we actually got kind of up and around, we left the hotel, and we were escorted by some, 3%ers.
Uh-huh.
You know what those are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we were escorted by those guys because we had talked to them the night before,
All right.
and they took us to the square where they were having it at.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got there, it was about 7:40 something, maybe 8,
Mm-hmm.
and there were already at least like maybe 20,000 people there.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked behind me, and there were just thousands more rushing in on the street behind me, and I was
Wow.
like, wow, this is huge, because I honestly did not know how many people were going to show up. Um, and then as more people kept coming in, um, it would just get more compact and things.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were like, we should go to the main space,
Yeah.
which like the main thing to watch Trump speak. You actually had to go through TSA to get in there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
That
so
makes sense.
and that's why there were no weapons when people rushed the Capitol,
Yeah.
because not only did most of them not really have weapons, but like
They were getting
they
water
couldn't
and stuff.
take them to, yeah.
Yeah.
So they had that little area where Trump was speaking, which I would say from looking at it and like videos of him speaking, that would probably seat like, I want to say 5,000 to 10,000, but it might actually be like 3,000 to 5,000.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But it did seat a lot of people.
Yeah.
And the overflow area went from that park all the way back to the Washington Monument. And wait, and there were people elbow to elbow, like all the way in there.
Jesus.
And then there were people past the Washington Monument.
Wow.
And one of those guys from Cleveland, he said when they went to the World Series, they had at the little parade thing, there were like 1.3 million people, and he said that gauging off of that, there were at least 1 million people at the rally.
Really?
And whether or not that's true,
Yeah, that's an
I
estimate from
well,
somebody who's obviously not professional.
well, yeah. Well, the thing is, I've never seen that many people in one space in my life. It looked like pictures of the civil rights movement when they're around the water
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. There were so many people. Like, and not only that, but once Trump actually got out to speak, they just came in and like got even closer. And it could have been like 3 million people, honestly. Like, I think the amount of people I saw just at the rally, like, it was at least 1 million. I made it. Like, there were so many people. It was insane.
So I mean, it's shoulder to shoulder. You're packed in like
Yeah.
cattle. Trump comes
Um,
out. Now, I imagine that there was kind of an anticipation mood, and then when Trump came
oh,
out, the place fucking
definitely.
blew up.
Oh, it did. Um, Also and we'll get to that later. So, all the people that came out before him, um, everyone was real excited about.
Mm,
And he came out like what 12? I think he came out at 12.
okay.
He was supposed to come out at 11:30, and he came out at around 12. I'm not really sure why, but um, we scooted up toward the front because I had to go to the bathroom, and also trying to get into a porta potty at a Trump rally. I've discovered
Yeah,
is not it's not fun.
yeah.
I mean I spent about 20 minutes just waiting to use one.
Wow.
Um,
Well, you're a dude. You just kind of pissed, you
Well, I was thinking about it. When we were on the grass, I was like, I might go in the grass.
Yeah, at the
And then I
Capitol
thought,
Hill with children walking around, public exposure like that,
no.
you might have to tell people whenever you move to a new neighborhood about it. You know, I'm just saying.
uh, well, with how packed people in, if I actually,
Yeah,
this could
nobody would
incriminate.
probably
This
notice,
could,
except the
yeah,
person you were pissing
uh,
on because you're shoulder to shoulder with everybody.
yeah. Maybe I could aim. Maybe I'd get a few, little on my feet, and that'd be
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
um,
All right, so it's tough to pee.
yeah. So,
Donald
well, we
Trump
got to the
comes
porta
out.
potties.
Now
I got
he had openers.
Yeah, he had openers. He
All right,
had
who came out?
the uh three of his, I think three of his children.
Really?
Um,
Was Ivanka there?
yes.
Oh, how was that? Just to be in the presence of that angel.
um, so yeah, that was pretty cool.
Did she look
Uh,
lovely?
I don't know. I couldn't see. It,
Oh,
well, it's not that I couldn't. I'm really tall, so like I could actually see everything.
mhm,
And my mom would tell me to look around because I could actually see.
mhm.
Um, but at that time, we weren't like at the angle to see any of the screens.
Uh,
So I didn't see her, but I saw Donald Trump Jr. and I saw Eric Trump, and then
okay.
the last I might be wrong here, but I think the last speakers before Trump actually came out was Rudy Giuliani and someone else. I don't remember his name. Do you know who I'm
He
talking
was there.
about?
That's cool.
Yeah. But he was with someone, and they said their stuff, and then they left.
Mhm,
And then after they were done speaking, me and my mom had actually made our way out of the main crowd because she was really overwhelmed by how many people there actually were
mhm.
because they were like we were trying to walk out and there were some ladies in wheelchairs and the ladies in wheelchairs couldn't even find room to get out.
Jesus.
Yeah, and like just standing there, people would just push and push,
Yeah.
and it was cramped.
Now, I mean,
So we
is this just because people are packed so tightly together, or is this like a
um oh
almost
no,
like a
yeah,
crowd being whipped
yeah,
up from the speaking?
no, no, it was just people who were tied together.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
they were the nicest people, all of them. Like those ladies couldn't get out, not because people weren't letting them out, is because they physically just could not move
Just no room
anymore.
to even make room
Yeah,
to pass people out.
and like, and that's why, well, if someone shouted like gun or if a bomb went off, there would be a few thousand deaths because like people would just be trampled.
Yeah. Oof.
Um, I'm happy he didn't say mosh pit, and
Yeah, no kidding.
um, so yeah, so we made our way out, and where we made our way out, it was pretty spread out. There weren't a whole lot of people, but then when we got out, Trump finally came outside to speak,
Mhm.
and then people. Do you know how DC is laid out?
Yeah, oh yeah. Been there multiple
Yeah.
times.
Oh, all right.
Mhm.
Um, you've been in the Capitol?
Yeah. Been in the Capitol
Uh,
building, been in the White House. I've been all the way up in the Statue of Liberty too. Yeah.
really?
I made most of all of my trips to DC. I love that place. It's amazing. The
Hmm.
history there alone, it's sometimes it's
Yeah.
overwhelming when you're standing in front of some of the monuments. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And of course, I
It's
laid on the grass at the Washington Monument and pretended that it was, my cock, because that's what everybody does.
yeah, gi- the giant white penis.
Oh yeah,
Isn't it funny that the world's largest penis is white?
damn right it is. And it's George Washington's. It's a thing
uh,
that people.
t-
That's a thing that
t-
people don't know. It's a little piece of American history that the Washington Monument is actually his petrified cock. They just put the thing up there, and we're like, hey, when he died, that's actually where he's buried. He's buried right
really?
underneath it. So
Wow.
he's a
Well,
very tall
well,
man.
well. um, did you know? A lot of people think it's Osiris's penis, like
Ah,
the
yeah. No, I get
yeah,
you. Yeah,
yeah, the god.
chopped off
Um,
by his brother.
yeah, I made a whole lot of penis jokes while we were there, honestly. Um,
Well, you're 17. If you didn't, I'd be
yeah,
ashamed for you.
yeah.
So,
Um,
alright, so Trump comes out.
so, well, when he comes out, um, we were pretty spread out,
Mm,
but when he came in, there were people. They were at the UN place,
mm,
and they were just chilling over there. And then when Trump came out, they all just started packing in, and like there were people all the way up that street and stuff, and people on the other street, and they just all came in to try to hear him,
mm.
and you couldn't even hear him right there, but people still just kept coming in and coming in. So I can't even imagine what it was like being in like the middle part where we were
Yeah,
stuck
Jesus.
after that. Yeah. Um, so he talked, and when he talked, we couldn't actually hear what he was saying because the speakers were at bad angles, and also the overflow area where there were people like um, it was the Washington Monument place.
Mm.
Um, they had a bad echo, so like you couldn't understand anything, and they were shouting "Turn it up" more than they were shouting USA. Like it was really bad. Like you would hear them go, um, they're trying to impeach the president. They're trying to impeach the president, and it was really bad. Um, I need to stop saying It's getting bad. I sound like the speakers.
It's alright. It's called a crutch. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it. We all got them. It takes a long time to get rid of them.
At
Believe
least
me.
it's not drugs.
Hey, that's a point, son.
Well,
So
we
Trump's speaking. Nobody can hear
yes.
anything except for the people
Well,
that are right next to the
well,
speakers.
pretty much, honestly. So we actually got there and we couldn't hear him, so we walked over to a street and there was a guy who had his phone speaker on a megaphone,
Huh?
and that's how we were listening, but that was kind of delayed.
Huh?
And we were really expecting him to talk about new stuff and things, but all I really talked about was the election.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all so that kind of made people a little disappointed because he didn't really say anything new.
Yeah.
So we couldn't hear, so we were just like, you know what, screw this, let's go back to the hotel. So we walked back to the hotel and we listened to him on our way there, and then we went in the hotel and we ate food, and then we walked back out. And uh, so when we went in the hotel, I ate my food and then I actually took a short nap. And when I woke up, I didn't actually really want to go out that much,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm very happy I did because it was crazy. Sort of crazy, honestly. It
So
wasn't to the
Trump
extent it
speaks.
was.
Oh, so Trump is speaking. You can't really hear it, so you just kind of go, screw it. Let's go eat and take a
Yeah,
nap.
yeah,
So,
that'll be important later.
okay. Um, while Trump was speaking, generally the mood of the audience was, we can't hear. Is kind
Yeah.
of what you're saying.
So, the people that were on that main street by the porta potties,
Mm-hmm.
you could hear pretty well there, but the vast majority of people were in the overflow area, and some of them were like, I don't know how many because I couldn't really see because like the Washington Monument is kind of up on a hill.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they said that there were people behind it, and if they were, I mean, good freaking job. I don't even know how you heard it back there. Um,
They're just
but
because it's cool.
uh, probably. uh, so there were people back there, and then they went from there all the way to the front, and then they had one screen because I'm assuming they didn't think there were going to be, a million people there,
Yeah,
and I don't blame them.
yeah.
So they had, so they had, I mean, the million people was probably behind the main place, honestly, because there's just it was I don't know, I just got to keep saying it was crazy because it
It was
really
a
was,
massive crowd of people.
and
All
um,
right. So
yeah, so
you eat, you take a
when we,
nap.
what happened? What happened?
I don't know.
Can you hear me?
I'm still here and I hear you.
Okay, something happened. I don't care. Whatever.
All right. So you eat, you
Okay.
take a nap,
Mhm.
and then what happens?
Um, we left
Mm-hmm.
and we walked down there, and we walked down there, and we get to a street. I don't remember what street I don't remember what street it was, but we see all the people walking,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of people. Like yeah, there's just a lot of people, and they all have flags, but they're pretty spread out.
Now what flags?
So Trump flags, American flags, don't tread on me flags.
Let me ask you a
I kind of
question.
I think I'm a bad fan because I don't remember the name of that flag, and you talked about it in yesterday's
Oh,
video.
the Gadsden flag?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a Gadsden flag. I always think
gas.
it's a Galston flag for some stupid reason. I always say Galston flag. Galston was a character
Mm-hmm.
from a book I love, so it's Gadsden.
Gadsden. All right.
Yeah. Did you see many like Confederate flags?
Uh, I don't know. I saw the ones that I personally saw. I saw one that was half American flag, half Confederate, and then I don't know that I saw even one. Like there might have been one that I forgot about, but like there weren't very many Confederate flags.
There weren't a whole lot of them, if there were any at all.
No, no, not at all. Most of the flags were Trump flags,
Okay.
and there were a lot of them. And I
Lots of
actually
Trump flags.
I I I got a flag. It wasn't a Trump flag or anything. It was just because I had a gray Patagonia shirt on and an orange hoodie on,
Uh-huh.
and I looked like Antifa. Like the night before, uh, they were giving they were getting after me about it. They're like, "You look like Antifa. Someone's gonna shoot you."
Jeez. Wow.
um, and like we took pictures with with the three percenters,
Mm-hmm.
and then someone was like, "Can I take one more?" And I was like, "How about you get an action shot?" And stood in front of them because it looks like I'm Antifa. Um,
That's funny.
but so yeah, I got a flag just to make sure that people knew I was there to not beat people up.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Like if I was to go into the Capitol and destroy Nancy's office,
Yeah.
they would have assumed I was one of the BLM people.
Yeah.
Also, I saw the Viking guy, by the
Oh,
way.
really?
Yeah, he was nuts. Like he really was insane. He had that big old American flag, and he was shirtless in DC, and it was really cold.
Oh, I bet.
Um, well,
Wearing a bison fucking
wh-
hat and horns.
yeah,
Jeez.
where I actually saw him, we were by the monument on a sidewalk in line to try to get into the main talking stage. Um, and he was in front of us, and he was like, "America!" Uh, I wish he would have said something like to give away that he was part of Antifa if he was.
Yeah.
Like he could have been like,
Oh,
I'm a racist too."
it's just a crazy person, man. Like I
Um,
said, when you get to the most extremes, it loops around and becomes a ring, and they're just right on the same. They're the same spot, just have a line in between them. Nutsos are nutsos, man.
hmm
So,
But
all
like
right, so you go to bed, you wake up, you go leave. You're just kind of hanging out. A bunch of flags, people are milling around. What happens then?
um, Well, here's the big thing. So as we're walking down the street, I see all the people, and then there are two streets actually merge. Um, it's like the Capitol building, and then the thing in between that and the Washington Monument.
Mm-hmm.
What's that called again? Is that the water? I don't remember.
Oh, the reflecting
Uh,
pool.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I I think that's between the Lincoln Memorial though. It was
Yeah, it's
whatever.
the Lincoln
But
Memorial,
like
the
there,
reflecting pool, and then the Washington Monument. I
yeah,
don't remember what building. Between the
yeah.
Capitol
But
building and the monument and the Washington Monument,
but yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I don't remember, but I know I know
Yeah.
generally what you're talking about. Yeah.
So I look behind. So in that road was all the people that weren't on my street.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were shoulder to shoulder. It was all blue and red, and it was compact as it could be. And there were so many people just walking. I'm surprised that no one got trampled
Mm-hmm.
because they were so close together,
Wow.
and they're all just straight toward the Capitol.
Yeah, that's what the march looks like.
Um,
I mean, that's
it
ultimately that's like the power of the march. You see these
yeah,
thousands of people shoulder to shoulder walking in the same direction
hmm
with the same purpose towards the
and
same place. You know, that's that visual right there is the power of it.
um, so we actually had a guy that we wanted to come with us, but he couldn't because his wife said no. And if you're listening, Mike, we found your balls in D.C. Um, so I hope he doesn't not invite me to his house after that. He's probably offended. Um, so
Poor Mike.
I I love you, Mike. Um, so well, so he couldn't go, and we were like, geez, if there's this many people here, and there's people like Mike who couldn't come because maybe their wife said no or they had work or something, like, can you imagine just how many people would actually be here if they could?
Yeah, and
And there was
oh, I would have
there
been there, man.
was
I mean, during the
yeah,
time that you're like taking your nap, I'm on my lunch break. You know, I would have
yeah.
loved to have been there instead. That would have been awesome.
All right. Um, so we did all that, and we're just walking around because now we're looking at the Capitol, and I I've been to DC before, but I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
and all I can really remember from it is I went to the Lincoln Memorial, and then I went to the Washington Monument, and then that was pretty much it. That's all I can really remember from it. Um, but I do. So when I actually got to the Capitol building, I've been to my state Capitol building, and it's a pretty big place. But once I got to that one, I was like, this is huge.
Yeah,
This is monumental.
yeah. The
Like
Capitol
like
building
just
is big.
yeah, when I was just on the street, it was gigantic, and I was so surprised by just how large it actually was.
And
Um,
you didn't get to even like you didn't get to actually go on an actual tour outside of it either.
yeah, uh, it would have been cool if I was one of those guys though.
Yeah, that stinks because I mean it's amazing inside
Yeah,
of there, but obviously you
I
get to
saw.
see it
Well,
for
I
free.
saw. I saw pictures of the people that were in it. I was like, wow, they got some cool stuff in there.
Yeah,
I should have gone in.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I could have gotten
so
arrested.
I was kind of looking forward to getting into a fight, honestly.
Joe.
We actually saw some. We were kind of near it, but we saw one of the cops throw tear gas into the crowd.
Wow.
Um, but uh, we heard flashbangs and stuff. But all in all, when we were actually at the Capitol building, they're trying to say there were all these skirmishes and people were yelling at the police and it was so violent and people died, which they did. I'm not saying people didn't die, but like my mother and me and my sister, we never felt unsafe at any point at all. Like it was safe. Everybody was having a good time. It was just people being people.
Well, I mean, so obviously there's like a demarcation because I mean we do know that people attack the police. We know that they
Oh,
broke in. You know,
yeah,
people
I
did
I
die.
I saw. Well, yeah, I saw the tear gas. I actually saw a skirmish with the police. I don't know what started it, but like I saw them. Something happened, and the police started getting after a guy. But like when that happened, people were just kind of like, for the most part, people were like, maybe he deserved it or something. And there were a few people yelling at the police, but like it wasn't like they were walking up to him and hitting him and being mad at him. So it was nothing. It was nothing like that, and that's what all the news outlets are saying is we we rolled up to the Capitol, just kicked in the door. We were like, Nancy, we're gonna kill you or something. Um, that's not what happened at all. Like we were just out there waving flags and sing. It was almost, it was very close to what you said you thought was gonna happen was us locking arms and singing songs. Um, it was almost that. Like not even 1%. Like less than 1%. Not 0.01% of the people were even doing anything wrong. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
So
there's
like
a lot of people there. A lot of people there. I mean, you've obviously
yeah.
made that clear.
th-
And there, I mean, there was a lot of people that went into the Capitol building, but I mean, nowhere near as many people that were actually present.
Yeah.
So to act like the
Well,
whole thing was that is ridiculous.
it is beyond ridiculous. I felt a little offended when I actually we looked at the news as we were coming back, and like even before we were coming back on the way there, my mom said, apparently there's stuff going on with the police. There's some skirmishes. And I was like, really? And that was really the only time I was scared because I was like, is it gonna turn into that? Are there things happening with the police? And that was just the news. And um, we just kept walking, and we had walkie-talkies in case our cell phones went out and we got lost or something. And like the walkie-talkies went off like just a little bit as she was reading that, but that was about it. There was little bits of chatter all day, so like I didn't really pay too much attention to it. So it really ended up being nothing. But so yeah, we went to the Capitol. Uh, um, there were from the angle I was at, I could see a lot of stuff. I mean, I actually walked around a little bit and I could see stuff from the angles I was from. Um, and basically, we actually were close enough to see the windows of the Capitol, and there wasn't even really graffiti or anything. It was just, it was clean. And the only things that I saw wrong with the windows was there was one window with mud thrown on it, which I would assume that was Nancy's office. I don't know. uh, um, and then as we made ourselves around, as we walked around that general area, um, we saw two broken windows. But the thing is, those windows they're two layered. They have like one on one side, one on the other. One was very, very close to breaking. It was all cracked, and then there was one that was completely broken, and they were broken from the inside. So that might have been where that girl got shot. I don't know. Um, but so there were those two things, and then the only other thing of graffiti that I saw from those two things was broken windows that had signs put in the broken spots where they were. And then that was it. That was the only stuff from defaced things that I saw. And when people would like kind of get jittery, start throwing stuff and things, people would be like, "Stop! What are you doing? You're aware we're better than Antifa and the BLM and stuff."
So you
Like they
did
would tell.
witness people in the crowd trying to stop people from doing bad
Yeah,
things.
I did. Like that guy in the skirmish with the police, they were like, what's he doing? Like they were kind of mad at the guy starting something with police. They were more mad at him than they were with like, with someone who was just like yelling. Basically, yeah, they were just mad at people who were doing stuff that was wrong. Um, So we kept walking around, and we saw that the aforementioned one skirmish with the police. We saw that happen, and then my mom's like, I think we can go now. We'll come back later. We're just gonna go grab food. So it was about when we actually left to go get food and all that. It was about between like 1 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So around 2 o'clock.
and pretty much, I think I'm actually I am leaving some stuff out. Let me think about what I can say.
Just, I mean, whatever events really stand out most in your mind. I mean, I'm just trying to really get a feel
Yeah.
of.
Oh, thanks for reminding me. So, um, when we were walking around, I saw 2 places where you could get into the Capitol,
Uh-huh.
and both of them were doors, and one door had 2 police officers in front of it,
Uh-huh.
and well, it was actually completely open for like the first time I walked by that specific entrance, and then as I was walking back, there were police in front of it. And there were only 2 officers, which is interesting, but I'll get into that. So then, by the broken windows and the yeah, by those broken windows, there was a there was a open door, and there was nobody guarding it. Like if I wanted to, I could have just walked right in. No one would have stopped me. No one would have really cared. Like there were people just walking in and out of there. There were a lot of people just looking in. So like if I wanted to, I could have just strolled in, skipped around, taken a. I could have left a note for Nancy. Um. Ooh, I should leave a better note for Chuck.
Yeah.
Uh.
No,
So
don't do evil things. That's the whole point of
yeah.
this.
So well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, we like people were like, this is our house. We pay our taxes to build this thing. We should be able to walk in. And I agree with that, honestly.
You
But
can't.
like,
You do tours every day.
yeah, I'm with you. I'm kind of like that. But like, so like it wasn't very heavily guarded, and which is interesting because it's the Capitol building of not just like the state or
Yeah.
the district. It's the entire United States.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
it's odd that they would
people,
have doors just open
yeah,
unmanned,
that
especially
was one
during,
of the
a big rally outside and stuff like that.
yeah, and they just kind of it's almost like they just let people in, and not to mention there were people in like making a big decision that day,
Yeah, I mean, they
in the
did.
chamber, and
There were videos
people,
of them, the police just opening up the doors at points
yeah,
and just letting
yeah,
people in.
that's because so they actually yeah they did let people in. Like there we talked to a cop the night before. He was like we're well he wasn't a Metro Police guy, but like he was from my state.
Mm.
And he's like, most of us, we're just kind of tired. Like, we watch BLM just destroy our city, and other people have seen their cities destroyed by BLM and other people. And he's like, we're just tired of it. Like, if you guys start rioting, we might not do anything. I don't know how true that was, but like, he put it out there.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
people talk, tensions
yeah,
are high
but
right now, passions
but
are high.
yeah, but they really did just let people in. Um, and they say they broke a window. Well, something fishy's going on there because
Well,
one of
watch
the
them break a window. I know at least
well,
one window was broken.
yeah, they broke that window. But the thing is, one of the Cleveland guys, he was talking about watching it happening, and he's just a guy. So I mean, I believe him. But like, if you're watching this,
What
you
is
don't
it?
really have to. But he he said that the glass it didn't like shatter, it just kind of fell over and broke.
Yeah, I mean,
And
they were. I saw the video from inside, and one of the. I don't remember who it was. It was just a staffer. If it was actually one of the Congress people, but
yeah,
they were reporting from inside as they were beating on the door. And yeah, one of the window panes just kind of toppled out of it and fell and broke.
Yeah, he was like, and he actually said that he saw people using stuff to like they were hitting the doors, and like I and well not the doors but the windows, and they wouldn't shatter. They were just still.
Yeah,
And
I mean, it's tempered glass.
yeah,
Pretty
they
much every window
like
in DC is tempered
yeah
glass.
yeah for obvious reasons,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. And he's like they're probably bulletproof, and
Yeah, I mean, they're all
um
tempered glass. They kind of have to be
yeah
because you can't just have
they
people
do.
drive by and fucking shoot up into the White
Hmm.
House. I mean, the
Yeah.
White House window, like the window, because you know the Oval Office actually has a window that faces out into the street. You see it every time you
Yeah.
see the president sitting
Yeah.
at the desk, and those glass
Hmm.
panes are like 4 inches thick.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yeah. 50 cal couldn't get through there, but
yeah,
like he said that there were people like using um this might have been exaggerated, but it probably wasn't because of those freaking glass panes because they're so thick. But he said that they used one of those gates that were trying to keep people out, and like they lifted it up and were pushing it through there, and it wouldn't budge.
yeah.
And then he said that when they opened the window, they just kind of like pushed on it with their hands, and it just kind of fell out. And he said there were no shards on the window, and it was just smooth, so like you could just walk in and not cut yourself.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
the easiest way to get those windows out would be to just push the pane out of the
hmm
frame. And, you know, again,
but
it's tempered glass, so it's not like it's
yeah,
going to break all that easily.
and not to mention, like he said that they kind of just pushed with their hands, and I'm like, if a bullet's not going to go through there, how's a guy pushing with his hands going to
Like I
do
said,
that?
you just
And
push it out of the frame.
well,
It's
they
held
said
in
they were
by
using
wood.
gates and things. I don't know.
It's not,
Um,
I mean, the windows are essentially held in by
well,
wood. So
pretty
if
much.
you beat on it hard enough, you'll break the wood around the window frame, and
Well,
then the window will just come out.
I'm sure you're right, but like it's still fishy that it just kind of fell over, and like there's not much smoothness, and a guy in a Viking helmet could do it, pretty much, you
Yeah,
know.
well, you know,
So
Vikings are strong. Those are my people, remember?
yes, I don't know. It's just real interesting that not only did they let people in basically, but they also broke a window and those guys didn't get shot.
Yeah.
And they also said that there were like 40 other people in the Capitol when that girl got shot, so that's also a little weird.
Yeah,
And it's
hey, I don't know.
and
There's a lot of stories coming from a lot of places
yeah,
during this, so
well,
I just kind of wanted to
so
get what you saw.
mhm.
It's all
So
very interesting. I mean,
well, like the most people were doing, they might jump when they shout, and maybe that's shoot worthy. I don't know, but like uh, they were real passionate, and I was chanting too. So was everybody else, and like it was just a lot of. We were just worried that stuff's gonna go down, and like you said yesterday, we're angry and we don't have a voice, and not even the Republican Party anymore is listening to us.
yeah,
Like they were like, we disagree with that whole protest, basically,
yeah.
and now that's just gonna make those people even angrier. Like it made me angry. I was like, what the heck? We literally, it was on a Wednesday. We have work. People have work, and they decided to get out of work to go to DC for that and things. And like they're just like they just kind of brush it off and say, "Oh boy, look at these dangerous, awful people."
I mean, it does show
And
how a few bad apples can spoil the
yeah,
bunch. You know, another thing I always say is you cast a big enough
like
net, you're going to catch ugly fish. So you've
mhm,
got a million people there, you're going to
yeah,
have a thousand that are nutty as fuck. You know, just law of averages says
dude,
that.
that's an
And
over exaggeration. There were
yeah,
probably like 16.
and they did
So like,
bad stuff, and
mhm,
other people went along with it, and now
ugh,
you see the consequences. Why I said we have
yeah.
to play by the rules. We cannot stray from that. We can't do anything bad because all it does is give them
Well,
ammunition, and then they use
that's
that
why.
to push really ridiculous stuff.
Well, that's why I think um, the Antifa thing has some. I don't know if I completely believe it, but like I would not be surprised at all.
Well, I mean,
I'm kind of with them
there
that
was a
like.
Black Lives Matter guy there. So
Well,
I'm sure
I'm
there
not.
was a couple of Antifa guys there, but a lot of them were Trump people. You know, I mean, the
Well,
way that people want to
so
kind of make it sound is that the whole thing was spearheaded by Antifa. All those guys
no.
were Antifa guys, and no, there
Wait,
was a lot of
that's
Trump
that's
supporters in
that's what I'm getting to is
there.
if we just had like 16, I not even 16. There could have been like five Antifa dudes that just decided,
Yeah,
or BLM people that just decided I'm gonna go in the Capitol. There would have been not a lot, like very little, but like a few people that would have just. So I understand why people think it could have been Antifa, and there were Antifa people there. I don't know if
shit.
they
One
were
of the
at the
Proud
rally or
Boys got
anything.
arrested for
I
fucking being in there. One of the Proud Boy
Yeah.
chapter leaders. So
Mhm.
it was.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of funny because you figure it's a bipartisan event then, right? You
Yeah.
got
It
BLM
was.
people, Proud Boys. You got North Trump
That's we should.
supporters.
I think so, honestly, the only thing that could unify us now, um, if it unifies us at all, is if a country just decided, look at how weak America is right now. Let's
Yeah,
invade.
and that's
It's
exactly
unlikely.
why that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
No country is
Like
stupid enough to bring us all together again.
I know. Not to mention we have guns. Like we're already angry at each other. Just imagine
Yeah.
how angry we would be at you.
Oh yeah.
Like the guy who gets in front of two angry females and says, "Hey, calm down."
Yeah.
Calm down is the trigger word. Um, so, um, so, well, so like, I totally believe that there could have been some Antifa guys.
Oh, I'm sure.
Um, so there was that, and then the lack of security, and there were guys just letting people in. And on our way back to the hotel, there was a guy who had an accent, so I don't know if he was from the U.S. or somewhere, but he was like, he looked at me and he's like, "Hey, why are you leaving? Why is everybody else leaving?" And like everybody had been outside the Capitol for like 3-4 hours at that point, and we all just decided to leave. And he's like, "Why is everybody leaving? I'm curious." And then we're just like, "Cause we want food, cause we were hungry." So we left for food, and then we were gonna come back, but the curfew happened.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was gonna. I thought we were gonna go back out because like people saw there was a curfew while they were at the place, and they're like, "If your curfew, we don't care." And I was kind of with them. I was willing to get tear gassed, but we just went home and we didn't go back because most of the people actually stayed. And so we went back to the hotel, and on our way, another thing that happened, I got out of the way of a guy coming toward me, and I was holding my big old flag, and he gave it an elbow, like he elbowed me, and I was like, that guy sucks.
Wow.
I'm, yeah, he's probably Antifa. He's probably in the Capitol. Um, but yeah,
People, man.
he could have just been from New York.
Maybe. Just a loony.
Yeah.
Angry
But
fellow.
all in all, it was a fun trip. We never felt in danger. Like we knew something was going to happen, but like we did not know that the news was going to take out everything that happened and just say, "Look at how bad these people are." Like
Yeah.
we gave not even an inch. Like it was like a 16th of an inch, and they took 100 miles.
Yeah.
And now everyone, even like other conservatives, are condemning us. And we were getting texts from people saying, "Are you seeing how crazy it is over there? You should get out." And we were like, "But there's nothing happening. There's nothing happening at all." Because it felt so safe. Uh, Nothing happened, really. Like,
I mean,
we just walked around.
on the periphery of the chaos. And
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's a
I
big
was,
place. There's a lot of people. You're gonna have a big separation of it.
I
And
mean, I was,
99%
I
of
was,
people didn't want to be that way.
I was in the middle of it for a second. And I don't, not even for a second, for a little while. Um, and and the news is like, see how off, not just how awful it is, but like these people are violent and they shouldn't be listened to, and you shouldn't reason with them. Like even Fox News, who these people are like, we we
Yeah,
kind
they're
of
supposed
trust
to.
and we're kind of okay with, and they're like 10,000 people stormed the Capitol today and looked there and and a lady was shot being an idiot and things,
Yeah.
and we all felt betrayed. And back at the hotel, we talked to those same people, and like I met a lot of cool people too. You know, there's a lady from New York and one from California,
Mm.
who was she was British by the way, which is even more interesting.
British girl from
Um,
California.
yeah, she herself said California, and that really made me laugh. Um, and there, those guys from Cleveland came back, and I talked with them. One of them specifically, he was the coolest dude I've ever met, honestly.
There you go.
uh, and then there was another dude. He was just high. Well, there's another dude I'll get to that was even higher. Um, this is completely off topic, but like the people they were cool. People from Cleveland are probably as cool as they are just because they're humbled by how awful that town must be.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah, I asked him about. I was like, "What was it like in 2016 when you lost the World Series to a team that hadn't won one in 100 and what 12 years?"
Yeah,
And he was like, "It was awful."
yeah. There's still the
But
Cubbies though. Like the Cubbies are my National League team,
yeah,
so I was actually pretty
hmm
happy that year. It was
well,
kind of cool to see the Cubs
well,
win.
I know it. I know it was cool. I'm not saying like I think it's cool. I thought that was
Oh,
incredible.
it
But
definitely
like he
snowed.
was, oh,
I remember sitting in
and
my
also
car listening to those games, just being pissed.
yeah, he was he was also like um Baker Mayfield. He was like that guy saved our city. He saved our NFL franchise. This like, do you know how depressing it is to be a Cleveland Browns fan?
Yeah, I hate the Browns. Fuck the Browns.
Uh,
I'm a
I
Cincinnati
like
fan,
him.
which ain't better, but
Ew,
yeah, it
Cincinnati.
ain't much better, but a little bit.
I
What are you
don't
gonna do?
know. Did Cincinnati make the playoffs this year?
I haven't a fucking
I
clue.
don't know.
Honestly, I
I
haven't
don't know.
followed
Whatever.
sports since all the bullshit. Like, I just stopped
Yeah,
caring
I'm with you. I've
entirely.
followed them. I followed like super lightly just because like they would be on.
Man, I don't pay attention to it at all anymore. Don't care.
Um, my mom rudely interrupted us by walking in here, and she just rolls her fingers like, "Wrap it up."
She's ready to talk, man.
Yeah,
So
she's
that's
more of an
your
extrovert
account.
than I am.
You
That's my account.
your account is you went to have a good time. You had a good time. Things happened that were bad. You saw some of it, but it never came so close to you that you yourself felt in danger.
Yeah,
And you saw
that's
people
exactly
trying
what
to
happened.
stop people from doing bad things too.
Yep.
Well, there you go. That's your account in a nutshell.
Yeah. Um, let's hope my mom knows what she's doing to get on this call.
Well, you just gotta give her the headset.
Oh, oh, I can do that. Mommy, mama, put these on. Put these on. Put these on. Put these on.
Oh. Oh, I'm doing this. Okay.
Yes. Say hello.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Fantastic. So you're Jen Lamo.
Yes, I
We
am.
call you Jen.
Okay.
And you are Joe's wonderful, lovely mother.
Listen, the car ride with those three cool ladies was like the greatest thing ever. So you can shove it up your butt.
All right, fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. So, are
We
you
were
a
fantastic.
happily married lady?
Yes, I am.
Ugh, all right, well, you can go then. Put your son back on.
Yeah,
No, I'm
no,
kidding,
we.
I'm kidding, I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
No, we've been married. I've been married 22 years. We have four kids.
Congratulations. That's
Yeah.
awesome. You have
So,
four amazing kids. Joe is a
yeah,
fantastic boy, I'll say.
he's a good guy.
He's very polite. He's very respectful. He's earned my
Yeah.
respect just from his behavior.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
Stop cursing in his presence.
I apologize.
I mean, it's shitty.
I,
Anyway,
I, I know. I apologize. I'll do
I'm
my
just
fucking best.
teasing. Listen, he's
So,
probably heard far worse.
so all right. What happened that made you feel
Said, put me on to the back.
that going to this event was to be your last stand?
Well, he described it as a last stand. I don't really feel like it's a last stand. What I'm saying is, it's been revealed that our vote doesn't matter. If our vote doesn't matter, how do we have a republic? How do we have our God-given rights?
Good
Because
question.
nobody else will recognize them. If our vote doesn't matter, all these people talking about, oh, we're going to, get you out of office. We'll vote you out. No, we won't. Our votes don't matter. They'll cheat. They'll put in whoever they want. So I just feel like if we don't fix it now, it doesn't get fixed, and we don't really have a republic.
So, you wanted to go just to be present to show your support, or did you have ulterior motives?
Yeah, I wanted to stand. I mean, that was all I could do. What else can we do? We're not violent people. We are reasonable people, but I don't feel like our representatives are representatives. And as far as I'm concerned, whenever you think about the Boston Tea Party, 1775, those guys, were dangerous men because they were upset over a 2% tax.
Yeah.
Where we are now is our vote doesn't matter. No one represents us and no one listens, and they're supposed to work for us. They don't feel they do.
Well, I mean, so look at the political field as it stands right now. It's pretty much a 50-50 split with things leaning towards the left. So, when Donald Trump becomes elected, everybody on the left feels that way. They felt it was stolen because there's no way that terrible man could have possibly won without cheating. That was the most of their argument. And so they went through 4 years of feeling that way with every damn thing he did. So it's going
That's
to
why
be
they
real
should stand
interesting.
now.
Like,
No, that's why they should stand now. We should all stand together. Everyone's, they go straight to civil war and civil war. I don't want to kill my brothers. I don't want to kill my sisters. I don't want to go to civil war. The people that I'm upset about are the elite class that live in a two-tiered system. I'm done with the two-tiered system. So they should be upset. I should be upset. Then we should work together.
yeah.
And they should show us if it, audit the vote, show us the votes. That's all I'm asking. If Joe Biden won, fine. But if you think that old geezer got 80 million votes and blew up Obama's legacy, that's crazy. He couldn't fill a bathroom.
But you also got to look at all those people that won, man. They all won. Their side won. They're happy. So it's
Yeah,
like,
so they don't care. They don't care if there's voter fraud. I mean, that's crazy.
exactly.
If we're
They don't care
Americans,
because their side's winning. I mean, think of it
exactly.
like this. You have a different mindset than they do. You're more fair-minded about it. You want the system to work the way the system is designed to work because that's how it works best, correct?
Yes, I do, except I hate the system. I'm not Republican or Democrat. I think they should, both they have withered on the vine. There's no part. I mean, there's a uniparty, and there's a bunch of people who are not that. That's where I am.
Yeah. But I was making a point. I don't remember. Oh, well, the left, they don't play by those rules. They don't care about fair-mindedness or anything like that. They care about winning.
Right,
So,
but that's why the conservatives always lose because they are playing against people who don't care about rules,
yeah,
and the conservatives are like, "Oh, good, clutch my pearls."
yeah,
We can't, we can't do that. But if you're playing against people, who don't care about the rules,
you
then
still gotta
it
follow the
can
rules.
never be a fair system.
It won't, but you still gotta follow
It
the
won't.
rules. That's the thing. Like,
I agree.
you have to follow the rules until it's at the point where there just aren't rules anymore. And once there's no more rules anymore, well, there's no more rules to follow, so you do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how it
For
has to
sure.
work. We have to follow the rules until the rules degrade to the point where they no longer exist, and then it's every man for themselves.
Right, but our Constitution provides for those things. Whoever, I mean, the people who started our country obviously were very smart men and knew
Oh,
that power corrupts because they lived it.
yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
they put those rules in place for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny part is that the left, because I'll say left and conservative, but the uniparty are screaming about how unfair this is, but they've objected in 2004 and 2016 and 2018, but all of a sudden now it's not fair. And I find that very interesting because that's why those rules were set in place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, all right, getting into some of your experience of being at this event, getting ready to go to, like, I just kind of want to hit specific points with you.
Okay.
Getting ready to go to it. What's your kind of expectation as you're getting ready to go? What do you think is going to happen?
We didn't think that many people were going to show up because there were still hotel rooms and there were scare tactics that were used. And the only reason I recognized it is because there were scare tactics that were used in the Tulsa Trump rally, so people wouldn't go because it was the first rally after COVID. And so people, they were like, don't go, super spreader event. And I mean, I just want a shirt that says super spreader because I've never worn a mask, but whatever. So I I knew that they were going to scare people so that they wouldn't go. And here we are, two women and two kids. I didn't feel afraid. And I knew I just wanted to stand and say that I stood. So if my kids ask me in, 30 years when we're eating rats out of trash cans, what, because we're Venezuela, what did you do? Well, I'm there. I stood. And my husband, obviously, I'm not saving anybody with my job. So, I haven't worked. I was a stay-at-home mom for 17 years and had an at-home business, but I had to go to work because of COVID because my husband couldn't travel. So I did that. I called my work. I said, listen, I have to go. I'm so sorry. If you have to fire me, I totally understand, but we need to be there. They let me go. It was fine. So when we got there that night, we talked to all the people outside and we all just kind of were, we're just here to stand. And we're not a violent people. I mean, the conservative, base, and I don't think most of the left is a violent people. We just want to live our lives. So we got there, we all discussed, because we're two women and two children, we shouldn't walk by ourselves because who knows what's going to happen. So, because there was a lot of what's going to happen tomorrow between everyone. So
So everybody's kind of speculating?
Sure. Everyone was like, they've, put out these scare tactics, said there's no food, no water, no hotels and whatever. We all need to kind of stick together. So they said we're leaving at 6:30 and I'm like, you don't know me. I will not be there. And they were like, it's okay. We'll wait. So at about 7:15, the 3%er guys, by the way, one of them might have been a Nephilim. He was huge. And we took out walking. We got a couple of blocks and they were putting out, like they were over a loudspeaker saying you can't carry anything in waters, selfie sticks, none of it.
Yeah.
So everybody had to take their things back. So nobody was armed with anything, not even a water bottle to throw.
Anything that could possibly be used as a weapon, yeah.
For sure, nobody. So we gather all our things, kind of put them back and then start again. And we walk over, we get there about 7:45 or like around 8. And it was just a bunch of really happy people. And everybody's saying, hey, how's it going? People talking to each other, people marching with flags and like chanting and whatever. And I have to say, when we got into the line and we got around, they did the national anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance. And it was the most lovely thing because, you could have heard a pin drop. It was almost emotional. I have to say I wept a couple of times that day because it was just so beautiful. It was such a nice day. My daughter dropped a $20 bill and someone picked it up and said, whose is this? Another person dropped a glove and my daughter picked it up and said, you dropped your glove. Like, That's who was there. Just a bunch of really lovely people. So we go, they do the national anthem. It was so beautiful. We stand in line. Obviously, the line stopped and we weren't going to get in. So we started trying to kind of move up and move up and move up. And then obviously, the one dude in our group had to pee. I've had 4 children and I can hold it, but whatever. Anyway, so we walked to the bathrooms, which took, gosh, like 45 minutes to like, because you just were a sea of people. We get there, they start talking, we sing happy birthday to Eric Trump. Uh, Junior comes on, everybody's just talking. And then what was strange was that Rudy came on and he only talked for like, I don't know, what, 3 or 4 minutes. And then the constitutional lawyer comes on and we're thinking, here's the goods. What's he going to drop? He talked for like 3 minutes. And then they said Trump was next. Everybody is starting to kind of push in and push in and push in. I knew we had to get out of, and so we took that. I think it was like 43.
Uh oh. Uh oh. I think something happened. Our first technical difficulty of the night. Only an hour and 10 minutes in. Joe, fix your mom's stuff. Let me see. Uh-oh. Oh, shucks. Well, we'll give it a minute and see if the technical difficulty gets fixed. If not, I don't know. But I'm definitely catching a very big, no sound, Joe. It's like your speaker is just on and just not, I don't know, I can't hear your mom anymore. Something happened and your mic went out. And gone. And back. And we'll pull Joe back in here. Ooh. And Joe back in here. Stop that. Stop that.
You got it? Hello?
Oh, wait.
We get it?
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. The stream had a delay, so I'm kind of like, how long were you without her? You said Joe, fix your mom's stuff, so I had to hurry up.
All right, cool. So we're back.
Okay, I'll give him back to her.
Thank you.
Okay, here we go. It's Joe Mama.
Shut up. Are we back?
Yes, we are back.
Sorry.
Welcome back, sweet lady.
Hey, I'm a boomer, so somebody's fixing stuff for me. There's no way.
Fair enough.
I'm not IT.
Fair enough.
I have a whole IT department in there, though.
Well, I'm a professional. I kept it going. I went, and things like that. So we're good.
Fantastic. Thank you. So where did we leave off?
Your son had to pee.
Oh gosh. So we got up, we got to the middle. Rudy talked. The constitutional lawyer talked.
Yeah.
And then there was this weird lag, which is strange because Trump always texts tweets and says, "I'm coming. I'll be there. Whatever." It was weird because it was like 48 minutes. It was a long time. And
Between
we had gotten to the
lawyer and Trump.
Yeah. It was, and that never happens at Trump rallies ever. Like, when he's coming on.
Yeah.
So it was really kind of a strange thing. So that gave us time though, because the women, the scooters, like the little rascals,
Uh-huh.
one had rolled up on my friend's foot. And if she would have fallen, she couldn't get up and we couldn't go anywhere. And we couldn't, it was scary. And I just thought, I have kids. I can't, they're like, I'm losing them in the sea of people. And there are people coming in, but nobody's getting out. So I saw t-shirt sales and I was like, I got to get over there. So we got to the t-shirt table and I sat on it. And the guy's like, ma'am, you can't sit on this table. I'm like, sir, we have to get out of here and we can't move. And he said, take your time. So I knew if we got to the porta potties, nobody wanted to stand behind them because they smelled so terrible. So it took us like 10 minutes to move 10 feet to get behind there to where we could make our way out. So we made our way out. It was crazy. The amount of people was insane. It was not expected. That's the best I can say. There were so many people and you couldn't move. And it was like, Times Square, New Year's Eve type thing where you just pee your pants because you can't go anywhere. And so we got to the back and Eli is 6'5" and like, and skinny. So we were like, hey, go that way. And so he kind of let us out because he could see because, he's tall. So he leads us out and we finally get to the side and then Trump comes on. We couldn't hear. We go eat. He told you all that.
Yeah.
So as we're leaving to go to the Capitol, because my daughter was like, I want to go. I'm salty. I thought there was going to be something happening. We got to do something the rest of the day. Let's go. I was like, okay. So we head out. My friend did not go with us. She stayed home. She stayed at the hotel and watched the news and we took off. So we got walking and I got a text, which was surprising because you couldn't text or any, I mean, it was really hard to communicate because it was so jammed. And so I got a text from my husband that said, Arizona just objected, so go make some noise. And I was like, okay. And I'd been to protests like in the Capitol and things before. You just go make noise. And so I was like, okay, cool. So we walked, it's like a mile and a half. We walked to Pennsylvania Avenue. We get on Pennsylvania Avenue and everybody's walking. And when I looked to my right, I saw the other street and it was even more packed. And I was like, oh gosh, the sea of people is just overwhelming. There's so many people here. And it felt good. It didn't feel scary. It felt good. And so everyone was so kind and so uplifting and so happy. It was like a merry band of people. I cannot explain how happy everyone was. So we walked down and when the two streets merged, you saw like just the sea of people. And so we walked onto the Capitol grounds. They had green netting. They had taken it down and were sitting on risers or were walking on the grass. And so then we got up and I mean, the amount of people pushing up the steps to get onto the second tier was unbelievable. So then they hopped over and started climbing scaffolding, which I thought was really dumb because scaffolding really isn't that secure. They unfurled the huge flag. Everybody was like, yay. We walked up and of course my child wanted to scale the wall. I'm like, that's like 60 feet. You're accident prone. I don't know. Yeah, don't do that. So we walked around. We talked to people. I saw one of the people that I follow, kind of a celebrity type, conservative person. I was like, oh, I fangirled a little bit because he's awesome. He's a very small person, smaller than I expected, but I'm giant, so it's, fine, whatever. I'm taller than him. And then I was like, that's weird. Selfie and I'll like bend down. So anyway, we did that. We took pictures. I have all this video. Everybody's just waving flags. The best video I have is kind of the theme of the day where it's people are standing on a statue that they climbed up. They're singing the national anthem. Everybody's moved. Everybody's singing with them. It was beautiful. And then at the very end, a woman from Latinos for Trump is pulling a wagon that has a speaker. And, we go into Home of the Brave, and then all of a sudden it's, we're not gonna take it. And it was just so fantastic. I was like, maybe that should be part of our national anthem. I don't know. It was pretty good.
It's gonna be.
So yeah, so it was just like everybody was just riled up and happy and hugging. And I mean, it was lovely. I never felt endangered. So whenever people started to text and like the few random texts would get through, I just thought, why are they what are they saying that's so violent? Like the people pushing up the steps didn't even seem violent. They were all waving their flags and yelling and yeah, it was never what the media was making it out to be. So it was a frustration for me, which I didn't know until I got back, and my friend who had gone had been watching the news, and she's weeping because she was like, this was such a lovely day, and they're making us out to be something it's not. Oh, it was because I don't know that I've ever done anything cooler in my life except for get married and have children. Like that's how invigorating the day was. We walked to the top steps. We walked around on the balconies. I took pictures of the sea of people all the way back to the monument, still walking in because we were one of the first ones there because we'd gone back and we were closer than them because our hotel was closer than the walk down Pennsylvania and I think Constitution. I can't remember. It was lovely. And I thought, so when I got back and the media was fitting that, I thought, I had three thoughts. Let's just say that. The first one was on the biggest vote, the biggest day, they know people are coming to, a Trump rally and they have no security.
Yeah.
That's very strange to me because that place is usually Fort Knox, honestly.
But part of why I kind of expect that is because a lot of people have been saying Trump supporters just aren't like that. This came totally out of the blue. So
And we
if
weren't.
it's a bunch of Trump supporters, you know what I mean? It's not a far out there thing that they might go, we don't really have to have a huge detail because it's Trump
Okay, maybe. Except that it's the biggest day and the biggest vote, and
very true.
they don't know what kind of people are going to show up because
Yes.
everyone had been talking that Antifa would be there and BLM would be there
Yeah.
because Trump supporters were there and it was going to be a clash. They had to know to have some security. There wasn't security, although like he was saying, when we walked up to the doors on the top, there were probably 100 cops in SWAT gear, and they were all lined up in a U shape. None of them were in front of a door. None of them. And they were watching people walk in and out, and they did nothing. They seemed pleasant. They were taking selfies with people that were walking in. It wasn't that. What they didn't feel. I mean, they didn't look afraid, for sure.
Well, I mean, it might have gotten to a point where they were like, look, just let them in. Because, again, they might have been like, they're not going to do anything too terribly bad, we hope. You know what I mean? Because again, I'm really just playing devil's advocate here with this. I have no fucking clue what
Of
the
course.
actual orders were. But I can
Well,
see
maybe.
that making sense.
But
That's my
you're
sense.
playing devil's advocate, but you said I was a bad parent for taking my child.
I did not. I said that at first I didn't know you were going, and I said, oh God, I said, well, just make sure that you're safe and you're doing the right thing. Don't do anything stupid. And then I was like, there, now me and your mom can continue to be cool because I'm still being a good influence on you. And then he's like, yeah, mom's bringing me. And I'm like, well, when your mom starts setting fires, get her and you out of there.
Let's be clear. I would be far more likely to set fires than that little sweet child. And I say little,
Exactly.
he's
That's
way
what
bigger
I'm
than
saying.
me.
You're a terrible influence on your son.
I know. But listen, he showed up to Washington. This 6'5", 160 kid looks like Antifa, has an orange sweatshirt on, like he wasn't being patriotic at all. And then he's carrying a skateboard. I'm like, dude, you're Antifa. Like, you gotta quit. You can't do that. They're gonna think you're that.
That's a style. That's a thing, man. You know,
So-
nobody can ever wear that mustache. That just right under the nose mustache. Even if
Yes.
even if on your face it looks amazing, you can't walk around with that shit. So some bad people just ruin styles too, you know?
I know. It's so sad. But anyway, I would send Eli by him. Oh, I would send Joe by himself. Sorry. I would send him. He's such a compassionate kid, and he's
He's
smart.
a very good boy.
And although he tends to break things, like himself, skateboarding and that sort of a thing.
Yeah.
He's so compassionate and sweet. I don't think that he would be that. And I don't know that he would have gone inside
Hmm.
if I weren't there. So I don't know. I'm more of a rebel probably than he is.
That
Because
happens.
if I didn't have kids there, I might have walked in. I don't know. I doubt it. You know, I don't feel like that. I feel like walking around that place was lovely and going up on the balconies and seeing the views and all the people, lovely. I don't think that walking in would be my thing. Just don't. I just don't. I'm more of a safety kind of girl these days because I have children,
Yeah. Yep. Something greater to worry about.
for sure.
Well, it sounds to me, from what you and your son have both said here tonight, it sounds to me like it was an event with a large amount of people, and a
Patriotic people.
small amount of people did
Sure.
terribly bad things. And now, from the way it's being portrayed, you've got that small amount of people that did terribly bad things, that have a gamut of emotions, from shame to fuck you, right? And then you've
Sure.
got all the rest of those people who are being held to the same standard as that very small group of people that did bad things, that are now pissed off
Listen,
because they're like, this is not what I did, fuckers.
right. And if you want to clarify the terribly bad things, I can't really agree with the terribly bad things because even if they went in and messed up Nancy's office, which was kind of the primary goal from what I hear from a couple of people that stayed, that
Laptops were stolen.
holds no. Listen, I understand. What I'm saying is we've been okay with people burning down churches and buildings and cities and making chaz and raping people in it, and we've been okay with that. It's been championed because oppressed for
We
the
haven't.
last
They have, and therein
right, but
lies the
they
difference.
made the police stand down, so the police are upset. The people are upset. I don't believe that the things that you're saying are terribly bad. They're bad. I would never do those things. I do not stand for that. I also know that maybe there was a wrong signal sent that those things are okay because they have happened for the last 6 months. And so for me, I take away there were, maybe 20 people in there doing things that I would never approve of. And the vast, you know, majority of people outside were peaceful and standing and saying, "Hear us. We are frustrated. You don't hear us. We just want an answer. We don't care who won. Give us the statistic. I mean, give us the analysis. Give us an audit, something, and just let us." Because we walked into whoever we voted for all these last years, and didn't feel this way. And so that's where everybody was, is just hear us and stop. The COVID bill just happened and everyone got $600, but they sent 800 billion to other countries. Like, this is not representative of what we want done with our money that you take from us every year. I'm not excited to pay taxes. I'm really not excited whenever you get to do what you want with our money.
Damn right, nobody is. Well, to
Right.
qualify what I meant by terribly bad thing, it was a bunch of people that went into a building, they broke into a building, a cop died during the process of it. That's terrible.
Absolutely. And by the way,
things were stolen. That's
yes,
terribly bad.
terribly bad. Agreed. Absolutely.
There was slight property destruction. That's terribly bad. Right?
Yes,
Now, on
absolutely.
the scale of things, it's not as bad as it could have been, but it is still terribly bad because it is the Capitol building. It's our house, which means that you don't have a right to
And guess who
destroy
gets
it.
to clean that up? Our money.
Yeah,
So there's
exactly. That too. It's a
There's
big
that.
waste. But
Right.
what makes the whole event, as far as the storming of the Capitol, what makes that terribly bad is the effect. It was a pebble dropped into a pond, and there are ripples coming out from that. And some of the biggest ripples were huge crush down by Google and Apple on
Sure.
conservative media. That's terribly
Sure.
bad. Nancy went to the fucking the General Milley and said, "Will you please not follow Trump's commands?" And he said, "No, dumb bitch, that's a fucking military coup." You know what I mean? But
Right.
they're at this point they're gonna try and do everything they possibly can to slam the hammer down on the populace, the conservative populace, as much as humanly possible, and that is what makes the event overall terribly bad. Because without it, it would have been far more difficult for them to go that route. This is what they've wanted, and now they get a chance to try and push it through as much as they can.
I will also add in, I think I think it was a setup. Absolutely. I think it was planned that those instigators go do those things. And I'm not saying that people didn't follow them, because I do believe that there were patriots in there that from the MAGA party that did those things. What I'm
Like I
saying
said,
is,
one of the Proud Boys was photoed as being in.
sure, sure. Okay, what I will say that I believe is that I know there were bricks left around. There were propane tanks that they said were for heaters so people could stay warm. Never saw a heater. I have a picture of these water bottles that say hand sanitizer that were left in baskets all around
I did
that could
see
easily. Okay, I have pictures.
that. Yeah, I did
And
see that.
so the thing is, I believe whoever they is, that planned this. I do believe that they thought we would be like the riots of Antifa and BLM, because if they put in instigators, people would do the same things. But because we are a peaceful people, those things didn't happen.
Yeah,
They
they let
had to
some
play
people
it up
follow along.
to a bigger extent because that didn't happen. And I think that the scare tactic was don't come, because they didn't want a lot of evidence that went against whatever narrative this is, that they're evil and awful people and violent and all of those things. We were not a violent people that day. There were a lot of people that could have picked up bricks, hand sanitizers, all the things, and done terrible things. That didn't happen. Nothing was set on fire. Nothing, that sort of thing. I don't think that we followed the lead that we were supposed to, but it's because we aren't that.
Yeah.
The people that were there were kind. They were, they wanted me not to lose my children. They kept saying, no, no, let them go through. They're with her. That was the sort of people that were there.
Did you
So,
get any pictures of the? I saw one of the water bottles, and that's really fucking weird to have. I mean, that thing was like one of those, just stubby kind of water bottles, not like the big long ones. It was kind of one of the more stubby ones. And I mean, it's a water
right.
bottle that's full of hand sanitizer. That's
Sure.
ridiculous. Like, it was
Yes.
very weird looking just to see you holding, whoever was holding those two bottles.
And by the way, those were like, that was the night before that they were showing. Somebody had gone and walked around. We didn't go walk around because we knew there could be trouble. We didn't want any. So I had to park 5 blocks away and walk back to my hotel because the parking was full. That was the most walking I ever wanted to do at night. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to go stay at the hotel, go to the rally, come back, stay the night, get up and go home. I mean, that was the whole plan. So when they came by and said, these are out on the street, this is weird. Everybody understand what it is. Do with it what you will.
So that was you guys were finding that stuff the night before.
Sure. Yeah. Everybody knew. And so that's why everybody was kind of on edge too. And we'd also heard the reports of Antifa's coming. They're going to wear the red MAGA hats backwards, that sort of a thing. Everyone knew that there was a risk to going. I knew there was a risk to going. And that's what I told my family. And, that's what I told my husband. Like, I will be safe because my children are with me and they want to go. I think this is going to be historical in that we did something. And so I want them to be there to see it. So I wanted to be really safe with them. That's why we didn't try to go up the steps. We went around the back to go up the steps. People were standing at the windows saying, listen to us. We have a voice. Let us talk to you, that sort of a thing. But nobody was being awful or terrible. I thought it was weird that the windows were broken from the inside. There were 3 broken from the inside that I saw. It just, a lot of the things that they were saying afterwards didn't make sense to me because I was standing there. So no matter what anyone says, I will never be ashamed that I went or that I took my children, because I felt like it was safe. And I know the truth of what happened because I was there. If I watched the news, I would feel differently. I needed to see the truth.
Yeah, the whole situation is just sad top to bottom.
Oh, it's heartbreaking to the ones that made the trip. I drove, 18 hours there and back. I drove 18 hours twice in 5 days. And it's heartbreaking because we had the best time. It was a beautiful trip. We got to see snow and mountain passes. We got to see the Washington. We got to see a historic event. All of it was so beautiful. To be marred in this way breaks my heart. I've had a couple of weeping moments and I don't cry. I don't even have feelings, for goodness sakes. But it was such a lovely experience. And everybody there said, I don't care if Trump concedes or not. This is us standing together to say you have to be transparent with us because we're supposed to be the people. We, the people, are supposed to understand what our elections look like, and nobody understands what they look like. Nobody.
Yeah, and we're a lot more savvy now. We've had so
Oh,
much transparency for the past 4 years. We've gotten spoiled by
absolutely.
it.
And it's the rules changed overnight, honestly. And listen, I've seen the FFs on, I've kind of suspected those things happen. I've never been a part of one. This felt like a complete narrative was formed before we ever walked to the Washington Monument that morning. And we didn't know. And it was spun in a way that it didn't happen. It was heartbreaking. It was sad. And I will never, ever be sad or disappointed because it was such a lovely day. It was one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of.
So
And I've
you
done
went
some
have a
really
good
cool stuff.
time not knowing that you were essentially a pawn.
Right, right. And I don't feel like a pawn now because I did nothing wrong.
Yeah,
And my children did nothing wrong. Like, I don't feel like a pawn. I feel betrayed
yeah,
by the people who would agree to do that because you disrupted something that was lovely, just like I'm sure people thought the civil rights movement was
yeah,
lovely and they spun it a certain way and that hurt them. Like,
yeah.
anybody who's been a part of anything, if it gets turned into something ugly, it's so disheartening because it was lovely.
Yeah, it's a shame.
It is.
Thank you
But you
for
know what? I'm so proud. I'm so proud. And I'm so proud
should
of the
be.
way my kids conducted themselves.
Yeah, you
And
should be. Bad things
the
happen.
people,
You weren't a part of it. Your kids
right,
weren't a part of it. You did everything you should have done properly, and that's good. So you
and
have
I
no
stood.
reason to
We
feel sad
stood.
or ashamed by any of your conduct, and you have every reason to
Sure.
feel ashamed of the conduct of the people who did the bad things because they ruined. Essentially, they ruined the memory of your good time.
Well, and honestly, that was their choices, not ours.
Yeah,
It's so disgusting to me that the media would spin it this way because it
yeah,
wasn't that. And
yeah.
so were they out talking to all the lovely people who were singing and
Oh, of course
chanting and
not.
kumbayaing? No.
That's not the good
And
story.
that was the majority.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything else you'd like to add to your experience of the day?
Um, Never call me a bad parent. We won't be friends. I'm just kidding.
Never call you a bad
Totally
parent.
kidding. No.
I would never call you a
I
bad parent. I'd say you're an
I
exceptional parent. From just the story of that event and you having your son and daughter there, and the way you all comported yourselves, I would say you are a amazing parent.
Listen, there were people there with little small children in the middle of that sea of people, and I just thought, "Oh my goodness, like I hope they keep them." We had belt loop
Yeah,
fingers and belt loops just trying to stay together. It was so
yeah,
crazy. But I have to tell you, I'm really thankful for you because my son adores you and he
oh,
watches all the time and you're so funny and
thank you.
leave out the F bombs. I am down, dude. I'm so down. And so I listen, I'm not square. I'm totally being funny. But I I no, I'm really thankful for you. I'm really thankful you're trying to put out what the story truly was because I think it's important. It's
Absolutely,
important
that's the
people
most
know,
important thing to me.
for sure.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for allowing your son to come on and talk to me. Thank you very much
You
for
want to
coming
talk?
on and talking to me yourself. I appreciate you giving me your view of the events of the day. I really do. I think that this sort of thing needs to happen. You know what I mean? Anytime there's any sort of
For sure.
situation like this, you need to have a wide range of views because everybody had their own perspective. And you were a couple dozen feet away from utter chaos. And you still
Oh,
had the experience that you had. And you've got to figure everybody from behind where you were had the same, if not better, experience than you had. You know what I mean? So
sure.
that's a
Well,
lot of
listen,
people that
I
have a great experience.
we had people go from my hometown that we met up there, couldn't get together because there were so many people. I have other friends that went that I'm trying to gather all of their perspectives too
Mm-hmm.
because I felt like that I needed to understand what they all saw
Yeah.
to make up my mind about what happened. I haven't wa- I It took me the 2 days home. I didn't watch the news. I didn't really talk to anybody except to say, "Yeah, I'm safe, we're good," because I needed to make up my own mind
Yeah.
about where I was because it was just so disappointing that they would paint such a lovely day so ugly. And yeah, so
Yeah, that's why I
I feel
wanted.
like it's
Yeah, that's why I wanted to immediately talk to you guys because I'm like, if you guys were there, I need to get your story at least out there from your perspective, just so that we have something other than what's currently just being said by everybody. Because I have not
absolutely.
seen anybody that was there be interviewed by anybody. So, you know,
In fact, the people that I've seen had to just Facebook Live or live stream and they get taken down immediately.
yeah,
And nobody's talking to these people who are like, listen, it was lovely. It was exhilarating. I mean, the high that we had walking back when the woman yelled at my kid and was like, God hates guns because of his flag, made me laugh. And I was like, we can defend ourselves, thank you. But like, everybody was no mask, face to face, side by side.
yeah,
It was just a lovely day because we've lived in bizarro world for a year.
yeah.
And so I'm thankful that you'll actually get some perspectives and put it out there because I don't see anyone doing it without a spin.
Perspective is the thing that we need more than anything right now.
Listen, we're not very far from each other. I mean, I hear people call people, Q-tards and lip-tards and, Jesus freaks and all the things.
Yeah,
And I just have to tell you, if we all sat down and talked, we're really not that far off. And the people we should be angry with are the people that are supposed to represent us. We as a people are close. We
yeah,
just don't know it because there's no civil discourse anymore.
yeah.
I think social
Absolutely.
media and text and all those things have taken it away.
Yeah.
We are a lovely people.
Yeah, it's a lot of the internet culture. Everybody doesn't have to see anybody face to face. They just figure, fuck it, I can say whatever I want, be as terrible as I want. And I think
Absolutely.
years of that has just rooted into our subconscious, and we're all, I think, if you boil down our emotion to the moment and got down to the root of the emotion that we always kind of feel, I think now it's frustration and a little bit of pissed. I think we're all a little frustrated and all a little
Sure.
pissed all the time
Sure.
now.
Sure. I don't. I mean, I'm a joyous person. I'm sarcastic. I'm, funny. My family's that, but I have to live in the joy. I think we should all go watch It's a Wonderful Life, to be honest. Like,
Good movie.
I'm a God person. Not
Yeah.
everybody is. I understand that.
Mm.
But I believe that God created us all different and to be who we're supposed to be.
Yep.
And so I think it's really lovely because we're all supposed to be that. Let's appreciate it. Let's all talk. We don't have to agree to like each other. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. You're not gonna
So,
like everybody,
no,
but you
and
should
that's
at
okay.
least
You're
like
not
them.
going to agree with everybody,
Yeah.
but you can still love that they are human they have emotions, they are made to be whatever they are. I mean, I think it's really kind of a lovely thought, but we are so far from that right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody just kind of needs to cool down the rhetoric. It's one of those things where it's like somebody needs to be the bigger person, and in this case, that ain't gonna work. I think everybody needs to be the bigger person, and that's gonna be rough.
Well, yeah, because going high when people go low is it's a task and it's difficult, but I don't think we were put here to for it to be easy all the time. So I'm all about the difficult if that's what it has to be.
Yeah. Anything worth having is worth earning.
Well, and if it's not, and listen, if it's not hard, you don't value it. So, oh, that sounded so dirty. Sorry.
No.
Anyway, just saying, if it's not difficult for you to gain,
Yeah.
then it's really not valued. And so I do believe this hard road we're about to walk and that we've been walking for the past year in Bizarro World, honestly, can bring us to a place and a precipice of loveliness or awfulness. And
The
it's
only way out
about
is
where we stand.
The only way
Say
out
again?
is through. We have to go through whatever
Sure.
awfulness is coming to get to whatever's on the other side. We have to.
You face it head on and you're not afraid. There are 365 verses in the Bible for fear, so you got one for every day if you need it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the fear is the enemy right now. It's just face it and let's figure out where we're going. I think the confusion's been so bad for everyone, but I think you just have to face it head on and walk it out,
Yeah.
even if it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Like
I have
Andy said,
teenagers.
we do these things
Yeah.
not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
And because they're worth it.
Yes. Ultimately, at the end of
Yeah.
the day, any trial is worth it.
Absolutely. So I thank you. I'm going to get off because I have a family game to play, and they're all like, can you wrap this up? We need a game.
Well, yeah, I'm wrapping up too. Thank you
Okay.
very much for coming on. I appreciate it a lot.
No problem.
Like I said, I really wanted to get another story out there. Story from somebody who was actually there. You took your kid there, so there's that whole element to it too. I wanted to capture the whole thing. It was amazing to hear you guys' story. Thank you very much.
Thanks. By the way, my daughter that we took,
Yes.
you were like, oh, 16-year-old boy. Well, he's 17, but I took my 15-year-old daughter. My 13-year-old had bands. She wanted to stay home. Cool. But like my poor little homeschool kids were like, oh, we're going outside in the world? Yes. It was lovely. It was lovely. So,
Jailbreak.
I know, right? So, so Joe wants to know if you have any questions for the both of us or if we're good.
Honestly, I think we're pretty good. If you guys don't have anything else to add, then I can't think of any other question.
I don't think I have any.
Confederate flags? Did you see any Confederate flags?
No, I put in the chat. I saw no Confederate flag, like zero. None. None. Now, there was one that was like a half. Like he said, there was a half that was like half American. If you want the truth, and I think a lot of people feel it's where we are, there were a lot of 1776 flags. There were a lot of Tree of Liberty flags, because I think the Tree of Liberty is dead. We need to replant it and just, do something different.
We know
But
what we water that with.
yeah, so I think that no, most of the flags were either, almost all of them were American flags, funny Trump flags, serious Trump flags, just Trump flags, Trump state flags, and then there were the 1776s, the Jesus saves. We had a lot of that. There were people like preachers on the corner, like preaching in a loudspeaker. There was just a lot of that, but no Confederate flags that I saw. I thought it was interesting that you asked. Did you see pictures?
No, somebody in the comments, a person who is a lefty, said that I was a traitor because I was supporting people that were taking down American flags in our capital and waving Trump flags and Confederate flags. And I said, I never saw a Confederate flag. All I saw was American flags and Trump flags. That's a fucking lie. So I just wanted to
No, that was a lie.
that it wasn't as what he thought.
No, and it's not that it was a lie. Maybe somebody photoshopped. I don't
Hey, I
know,
don't know.
but there was literally not one. Not one. Now, driving through the Appalachians, I saw them in front of houses, and I saw, Smoky Mountain. But at the actual rally, no way, nothing.
Well, there we go then.
Nope.
All right.
So, and listen, you supporting people who went doesn't make you good or bad. I think we have to be really independent and just say, well, we're for all people.
Yeah.
And I know there weren't Confederate flags, but like I'm okay with, and that's what I saw at every Trump rally I've been to or around. Like there are gay flags, there are every kind of flag possible, but I did not see Confederate flags. But I'm sure there are some, at Trump rallies.
Yeah.
But it was every flag. We're a really big tent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think that's a great place to end. We're a really big tent.
Yeah, me too. We're a big tent. I'm not a big tent. I don't wear muumuus. I'm just saying we're a big tent.
We, as in the Republican Party, the group that follows with Trump, we are a big tent.
Right. And I don't think it's Republican anymore. I got to tell you, a lot of people I've seen are deregistering and going independent. I've always been more libertarian. So there's that. But yeah, no, we are a lot of people. There are a lot of Democrats. The guy that I met there from my hometown, registered Democrat his whole life. His dad, same. His mom, same. And they came.
Hey,
So
well, there you go. Well, all right, you got a game to play. I got a game to
I
play.
do. You do?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm going to play Cyberpunk.
Oh, Cyberpunk. What are we playing? Catan?
Do I need to get
Is
on
it
there?
Catan?
You're
Catan?
playing Catan, Settlers of Catan.
What are we talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna go play with our family.
All right, well, you guys have fun. I hope everybody has a fantastic night. Thank everybody for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hearing out these lovely people and their perspective on the day as it happened. Thank you, everyone, very much, and goodbye.